Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at our transformation rules. And remember, a transformation just simply means a change. So first, let's start by drawing a table. So I'm going to draw my titles first and then just draw my table. So first, we're going to look at the type of transformation. Then we'll take a look at the rule. And we're going to do an example, but we're always going to start with the point -4, -8. So now let's draw our table. Okay. So, just a second. So if you'll remember, the very first type of rule that we talked about was a translation. So let's talk about translations. And remember, the other word for that is a slide. So first of all, if we go, and let's fill all of these in and then we'll write the rules. So the types of translations that we're going to look at is moving 2 to the left, 4 to the right, 6 up, 9 down, and then we're going to combine them. 4 left, 2 up, or 3 right, 4 down. So go ahead and pause the video and get those written in, and then we'll start talking about how the rules look. So when we talk about going left, if you'll remember, left is on the x-axis and it is negative. So to write our rule, we're going to subtract, say x minus 2, and since I didn't go up or down, I just leave y as it is. So the way that looks when I use it, the rule says subtract 2 from the first number. So -4 minus 2 is -6. And the rule says leave the second number alone. So now let's look at 4 to the right. And again, left or right is on the x-axis, and to the right is plus or positive, plus the number. So the rule would be x plus 4, that's to the right, and I didn't go up or down any, so I leave y alone. So let's see how that would affect -4, -8. So if I do, remember every point, every point is x, I see why it's doing that now. Every point is x, y. So we're going to add 4 to the x, which is -4. So -4 plus 4 is 0, and we leave the y alone. So our transformed or our translated 4 right point is 0, -8. So let's look at 6 up. Up and down is on the y-axis. So, and up is positive. So I'm going to say y plus some number. I didn't go left or right any, so I'll leave the x alone. See, that's a little bit different than before. And 6 up is y plus 6. So let's do that to our point. The rule says leave the first number alone and add 6 to the second number, or the y. So -8 plus 6 is -2. And remember, you can just type that straight in your calculator. You would type -8 plus 6, and that gives you -2. Now let's look if we go down 9. So remember, up and down, that's the y-axis, and down is negative. So I'm going to subtract something from my y. I didn't go left or right any, so I leave the x alone. Down 9 means y minus 9. Now let's apply that to our point that we're using to practice. -4, 8. So leave the first number alone. So -4 stays -4. -8 minus 9, type it in your calculator. -8 minus 9 is -17. So that's where that point would move if I go 9 down. Now let's put left and right together. Left, right, up, down. So 4 to the left would be x minus 4. 2 up would be y plus 2. So now I'm going to do that to my point. So -4 minus 4 is negative 8. You type your original point in first, comma, negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6. So if I go 4 left, 2 up, that point moves to negative 8, negative 6. And now let's do our last translation. We're going to go 3 to the right. To the right is x plus, or to the positive side, and the number is 3. And 4 down is y minus 4. Now I apply my rule to my point. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. So that's how we use rules for translations. These rules are specific to the number of times you move. The second one that we're going to take a look at is dilations. I wanted to do these two first because you actually have to put a rule or a number in your rule. Remember, dilations is k times x, k times y. Whatever you're dilating by, you multiply your x and y by that. So let's look at if we grow. If we grow, we're going to have a number bigger than 1. So let's say we grow by 4. So my rule would be 4 times x, comma, 4 times y. So let's apply that to our test point or our example point. And we're using negative 4, negative 8. Let me rewrite that down here so I won't lose it. Negative 4, negative 8. That's our original point. Or remember, what do we technically call that? Our pre-image. So let me write that on this side. Remember, this is our pre-image, and what we get after we do our rule is our image. So let's do a growth by 4. So I do negative 4 times 4 is negative 16, and negative 8 times 4 is negative 32. That's my image point. It has grown by 4. Let's do a shrink. Let's shrink by 1/2. So my rule is going to be half times x, comma, half times y. So let's shrink our pre-image point by half. So negative 4 times half is negative 2. Negative 8 times half, or half of negative 8, is negative 4. So that is our image, our shrunk image point. Okay, that's how the whole picture would get smaller. So we've done translations, we've looked at dilations. Now let's take a look at reflections. And I'm going to use green for this one. So let's take a look at reflections. Remember, a reflection is also called a flip. Now these rules never change. You don't have to put numbers in there. These rules stay the same no matter what. That's why I wanted to do this and the next transformation last. So let's say we reflect across the x-axis. And we can also reflect across the y-axis. So those are our two types of reflections. So let's look at the rule for reflecting across the x-axis. The rule says x, comma, negative y. So x negative y is your rule. That means leave the first number alone, change the sign of the second number. And let's go back to our pre-image point of negative 4, negative 8. We're going to use that as our example through all of these. So I leave the first number alone and I change the sign of the second number. So my image point, or my flipped point, is negative 4, positive 8. Let's look at flipping across or reflecting across the y-axis. The rule is negative x, comma, y. These rules will never change. You just have to find them and use them. So to reflect up or down across the y-axis, we change the sign of the first number. So, and I'm always going back to this point right here as my start. Okay, that's what I'm using as my, see here, that's what I'm using to start with. -4, -8. So to reflect that across the y-axis, I change the sign of the first number. So -4 becomes +4. And it says just write whatever y is. So leave the -8 alone. So that's how I switch or reflect those. Let me go back and highlight this just to make it easier. So that's my starting point, and then that's where I go. And last but not least, let's take a look at we've done translations, dilations, reflections. Now we need to take a look at rotations. Remember, our rotations are our turns. So our last change to look at is a rotation or a turn. And if you'll remember, we had 3 types of turns. We could go 90 degrees clockwise. That's 1 turn to the right, the way a clock goes. Or we can go 90 degrees counterclockwise, which is 1 turn to the left, the opposite of the way the clock goes. Or we could do 180 degrees, which is 2 turns in either direction. And again, these rules never change. You don't have to worry about putting numbers into the rules. They are what they are. So let's look at 90 degrees clockwise. Your rule for that is y, comma, -x. And what that means is you switch the x and y, and then you change the sign of the new second number. So again, we're going to take a look using that same point, -4, -8. That way we're not trying to figure out stuff. So let's rotate that point 90 degrees clockwise. So we flip the x and the y, okay? And then we change the second sign, the sign of the second number. That's our new x and y, -8, 4. So that's a point rotated 90 degrees clockwise. Now let's go to 90 degrees counterclockwise. That rule is -y, comma, x. That says flip the x and the y and change the sign of the new first number. So let's do what it says. We're going to flip the x and the y, so that becomes -8, -4, and then the rule says change the sign of the new first number. So that sign, or that point, is 8, -4. And last but not least, let's do 180 degrees rotation, or 2 turns. Your rule is -x, -y, and that just means leave the numbers alone but change both the signs. So -4 becomes +4, -8 becomes +8. So guys, these are the rules for your different types of transformations. Refer back to this. This is an excellent reference for you to use on practices, quizzes, whatever you may encounter. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.